Welcome to In the Loop, the Charlotte Area Chambers podcast, where we talk about everything Charlotte with area business and community leaders. Here are your hosts, Chamber Chief Operating Officer Michael Orzak and CEO of Chase Media, Diane Chase.
Hey, everybody. Welcome to the Charlotte Area Chamber podcast, In the Loop. I'm one of the hosts, and my co-host Diane Chase is here today. And we have our guest, Heathir McElroy, and she is the CEO of Momentor. So, obviously, I am reading this, and we're going to find out what this is all about today. So, Heather, take it away. Tell us about you.
Hi, Heather. Thank you for joining us today.
Thanks for inviting me.
You have an amazing story. I know we've gotten together a couple of times, and you came to one of our programs on succession planning and all of that. But you
see you in action.
Yeah, that was really fun. You have an eclectic, diverse, super interesting background. Can you give us just the cliff notes of how you got to Momentor?
Sure. It was a career pivot in my late 40s to become a parent coach, and it was interesting. So I grew up in Michigan, West Michigan. So people always ask, if you're from Michigan, you show where on their hand you're from, the mitten.
Yeah.
And had this very middle-class Midwestern family. My dad, blue collar, could fix anything, including like taking an engine out of a car and putting a new one in. My dad fixed everything. And my mom was a nurse. I had the oldest of 4 siblings, did lots and lots of babysitting, lots and lots of learning. It was a very loud house. And grew up just surrounded by family and so many mentors. And I always I joke that I was heavily mentored through my whole life. And I think it has been one of the most powerful experiences that I've had, and both professionally and personally, to have so many people in my life, adults and through my life, that cared enough about me to invest in me and mentor me along the way. And I'm so grateful for that. But the thing that I think about is how I've always had this knack or this interest in connecting. And I connect ideas. I think part of my ADHD is all involved in that too. And I love to connect people. And when I meet somebody and I hear their story, I love, I start thinking about, who do I know that they should know? Or what, what connections do I have that might connect to them? And so anyways, my early years in corporate communications turned into kind of a global communications roles, and then started my own business in 2002. As a marketing and design firm, which merged and as things do as times change, and really evolved into doing a lot more strategy, communications, and working with creatives and marketing teams, and doing a lot of coaching, which is where my little light bulb turned on. And I was really seeing a lot of these folks who, we're talking about business-related marketing, communications, PR-related things. And I'm really, because there's this big neon sign on my forehead that says, "Tell me more." I think I told you that. I hear so much more. And maybe it's the questions. I don't know what it is, but the big neon sign is there. And I would find that so many people were really struggling with not only what their relationships looked like at work, but what their home relationships looked like, their personal relationship with their spouse or their partner, with their children, with their parents, with their siblings. And it was fascinating to me to realize that so many people really didn't have support for that. And so when I began to notice these things, 3 things were what I noticed, and I'll try to stay more focused. Okay, so you might have to reel me in. Every single one of us is unique, and none of us came with a manual, was my first epiphany in that space, right?
Agreed.
None of us. Did you have a manual? And I always say, like, when I talk out, and do chats, I'm like, if anyone did, please see me afterwards. I would really love to see your manual.
Right.
And then 2, most of us crave connection and to be understood and accepted. And, and this is an inside job. This isn't something someone else can do for us. And then the third thing that I noticed was that many of us, and back to what I originally said, are navigating home and social and work relationships in these patterns that we've been carrying around with us that came from our life experiences and our upbringing and how our parents parented us and how their parents parented them. So a lot of these things all kind of came to my awareness as I was still doing work in the creative and marketing arena. And then the pandemic. Mm-hmm. And, things got a little crazy. I really focused in that whole year on what I wanted to do next, and really also kind of felt a little bit burned out in the marketing space. And then, all of the things that were going on in the world were sort of shifting and odd. So in 2020, parent-child relationships, own curriculum, to sort of talk to these parent-child relationships, whether you're parenting a child or whether you're the child. We're all in a parent-child relationship, and that really, I had been doing a lot of work on my own parenting and understanding my own parent-child relationship with my parents through many years, and that originally started with me taking a Parenting with Peace class here in Charlotte, which was hilarious because I walked in the door there going, I am going to figure out how to fix my kid today. This is awesome. Like, I'm going to figure out how to align him with what I want him to do and all of my values. And
it's going to be unicorns and rainbows.
Exactly. And 10 minutes later, I'm like, oh my gosh, this is about me. This is my stuff to work on. And that kicked off this whole journey for me of understanding a lot of things in my own life and in my own parenting and my own childing. And taking that, into a curriculum. And I invited a group of moms originally to be my pilot group. They were very generous and offered to be part of my pilot group. And that was a really great experience, and I learned what I didn't have yet in my curriculum. So I became a certified parent coach through the Jai Institute after that, and kind of took the next level to understanding attachment science and brain development, and a lot more about how we can parent in different ways and use language in different ways to connect with our children and our parents.
The nugget motivator came from becoming a mom, personal upbringing, and then becoming a mom, or just being in the corporate world and seeing how there was this crazy non-intersection of personal and professional life, which you and I talked about, where, the old, leave your personality and your humanity at the door when you walk into the office, right? Personal's personal, professional's professional. None of the twain shall meet. That firewall kind of thing. And now
Isn't
that's
that how it is? What?
Michael, have we got news for you?
I'll come and talk to you.
There's a lot going on. Yeah, and the emphasis on mental health and mental wellness in the business world has just exploded. It's been amazing.
It has.
And I don't know what other than COVID, the impetus is coming from, I guess, an awareness that, we're all human beings. Hello. We need to communicate and support each other, or at least try to understand each other.
Yeah. Yep.
Well,
I
and
agree.
also the social media, I think, Diane, has played a big part in that, because people have these wonderful, happy lives on social media. and as a person coming from within, you're like, I don't have all this. And then that's mentally straining on people, I think. And so people aren't showing the reality. They're only showing one side of the story.
What do they call it?
Comparison culture.
The comparison culture, but the Facebook persona, or the Facebook person, or whatever. In other words, they're not real. Yeah. Everybody's not,
the perfect person, vacation every week and all that stuff.
And their kids are perfect. And
so I think that's
like Stepford Wives.
That's a big mental health.
And the damage, I was just reading something recently about the susceptibility of teenagers and, adolescents, especially. Families and teenagers who have really been.
So you're here to help fix all that?
Where none of us are broken. We don't need fixing. Okay. And we're all perfectly.
You're here to help people understand?
Yes. Well, we're all perfectly imperfect, is where I come from. And one of the things I hear a lot when someone's like, is this like something for me? I don't really want to, maybe one thing I've heard a lot, my parents have passed. I don't want to feel like I'm blaming them or shaming or for ourselves. And it's not about that. None of it is about it. And we can still do the work for ourselves, even if our parents have passed or if our parents are estranged from us. It's an internal work that we can do to really understand ourselves and understand what those experiences were that we grew up in and what pieces of us, how we're seeing things. So I always use the window analogy, and I use this a lot. I have a workshop that I called CEO of Me, and it's really based in that window that we're looking at everything through, like all of the experiences we have in our life, cloud that window or create things in that window that we look through and see everything else. If we have a bad experience going to a bowling alley, and then we fear going to a bowling alley for ourselves or for our child or for our partner or spouse, like anyone, like even driving by a bowling alley, that we could be looking through that window of our experience and feeling anxious or feeling uncomfortable about it. There's just so many things we can recognize when we kind of think in terms of something tangible like a window. And
that's interesting. And holding grudges, so to speak, like that. I mean, I actually know someone who has had a bad experience at a particular store, like a grocery store or some of the other stores. And that one incident on one day 20 years ago, and they're still like, oh, never going there. Yeah. It's amazing how it really implants in some people.
It does.
So what are some of the tools and tricks that you have or teaching methodologies that you have?
Oh, goodness. So I'm trained in a lot of different tools and techniques, and I offer everything from understanding like how to deal and communicate well with those with ADHD. And this can be, our parent-child relationships. This can also be a mentor relationship, mentor-mentee relationship, or to your direct reports. If you have a boss that's maybe challenging to communicate with, these are all tools that we can use to understand ourselves and our part of that relationship and how we're showing up in it, and to better understand that other person too. So everything from like understanding someone with ADHD, understanding the teen mindset, and that's a big one too for a lot of the parents that I work with, because the teens and tweens of today are very, very different in their thinking and in their experiences than we were at their age.
Very.
And very, just a lot of different aspects of understanding humans come into play, right? And I also am trained in youth mental health, first aid, to like really help us, if we see somebody who's who concerns us, who has something going on that, and ways to approach that in a healthy way. Suicide prevention, QPR training is also in my quiver, and self-harm type of work. Education for advocacy for students with disabilities, like those needing a 504 in school, and helping the parents to balance and understand what that means today. A great example that I share is, so back when I was in grade school, right, if you needed a help or to go to a special classroom, that was kind of, not looked upon. I don't know. I don't want to say
there was a stigma.
There was a stigma for sure. And now that has changed so much. We want to support and help our kids who are struggling and help them, feel like they have a community and feel like they are able to achieve something. Yes, and belong. And that is such a difference. And some of the parents still kind of feel that stigma. And I had a teacher say to me one time, we were talking about a child that the parents didn't want to have held back. And the child kind of needed more time. And the teacher said, you can give him the gift of more time. And I thought, wow.
That's a great way to put it.
That was such a great way to put it. Yeah. And, and again, looking through that window, like of our experiences, our perceptions, our stigmas that we're carrying around and seeing everything. And so I do a lot of talking with families and talking with parents and talking with people on teams within organizations and helping them navigate some of this stuff. It's all navigatable.
Navigatable. When do people often come to you? Are they kind of really at a tipping point, or are they kind of looking ahead and feeling, I need some support here. I need some assistance.
Sure. It varies. I've had amazing conversations with someone on the street, like walking my dog, and then it, turns into them saying, we really, our family is struggling, and could you come and talk with us? And businesses that have brought me in to support the curriculum for their parent groups internally. That's really a powerful way to really integrate that curriculum. And I find a lot of, like Best Places to Work are a really good connection that they really care about their people. I met with a company a couple of weeks ago who, and I had never heard this before, but I thought, that makes so much sense. They said, their first is our DNA here, her chief people officer. And she said, people first is our DNA here. And I thought, that makes so much sense. And, in my work, people first is where we are. And, when a company takes care of their people like that, when a religious organization really wants to support their people internally, those are great ventures in for me to come in. And I have a Ask the Parent Coach session that I do that really just opens it up. It's almost like parent coaching 101 to give them the opportunity to sort of taste what it is, without going, what am I committing to?
Yeah. I don't know about this.
Yeah.
Very, very cool. Okay, so you have some fun little exercise, evidently.
I do. I have
Are we going to have to get up and jump or anything?
We might need to. It's a little warm in here.
Okay. Yeah, let's do this.
You want to do the exercise?
Yeah, let's get some people some great information here.
Awesome. All right, so this is an exercise for anyone. You don't have to be a parent. You don't have to be, you're all children, so.
Yes.
And I call it FIRE, stop, drop, and roll. So do you recall
Yes.
back when I went to grade school in the 80s,
Yep.
they had when you caught on fire, if you ever had your clothes on fire or something on fire, you stop, drop, and roll. And one of several of my techniques are a bit more complex in helping with our nervous system. And I keep thinking about this idea. So I was writing this up to just be sort of a fun new exercise. So I'll share it with you all. So how we react in a fire situation is based in where our nervous system is at that time, right? So if you're in a calm space and someone's says fire, right? You can probably think clearly and get yourself out of the building or get your children to a safe place, right? If your nervous system isn't in a good place, you might forget things or react in a way that isn't super healthy or productive, right? Even, if there was a plane crash and you were getting out of the plane, like the more calm and centered and focused you can be, the better. So how we behave when we are triggered is what we're talking about. And then find a way to connect with ourselves when there's a fire. So my idea for stop, drop, and roll to when there's a fire situation. So your child does something, has a tantrum in the middle of the grocery store. And it feels like a fire situation, right? You're maybe embarrassed. You're feeling frustrated. You'd really just like to get what you need and get out of there. So my exercise is to stop. The first key of stop, drop, and roll. Get centered and see the situation clearly. So it looks like maybe, hey, this conversation feels like it's getting intense, or it feels like you're in an intense place. Let's take a break. Let's go get you a drink. Let's go get a water out of the refrigerator over here, or just maybe get an ice cube off of the salad bar, right? Let's get a little ice. Oh, yeah, like just something that switches up what's going on there, right? So the stop. Take some deep breaths. You can jump up and down for 10 seconds. Anything to just switch up what's going on there. Drop is get low, get slow. So a lot of times parents will talk to their children while their child is standing on the ground, right? And we're much, much taller than them. They're looking at our knee with them, or chin, right? So if you can get low and slow and get really clear with them, like lower that intensity so that there's more communication and connection there. Hey, I see that you're upset. Let's, what can we do? Let's try to get this handled. We'll get
real eye contact,
Yes.
just that eye contact.
And getting down on their level, right? That's so important. It makes such a difference for them. Share about what you'd like to do, share about what you would like to do. And this can also be used in a business setting too. If someone's, dysregulated or getting really upset. I had a situation over the weekend where someone was really upset and trying to figure out how to handle a situation and feeling really dysregulated. And we talked a little more low and slow. I didn't, have to crouch down. But again, it doesn't always have to be low and slow. Doesn't have to mean you have to crouch down. It can mean just like you slow down and you meet them where they are. Eye contact is great. Yeah. And sometimes eye contact even is less great. Like having that low and slow conversation in the car where you're both looking straight ahead can also open doors to being a good way to connect. And then roll. What does a win-win look like? Hey, a win-win looks like we're going to go home and you can have some more ice. Maybe we can get you a popsicle while we're here, using that same scenario of the child in the grocery store. I understand what you're going through. Connection and understanding with someone, no matter what age they are, and showing them how to build trust with themselves and awareness for what they're going through. So those are.
So that's a big change from old school.
We didn't even have to get up out of our chairs. This is awesome.
Stop, drop, and roll. I know. Well, I just thought it was fun.
So have you heard about success rate with this, and how does it affect people, and how does it do this? You can say, okay, here's the method. What's the reaction when somebody tries this and shares it with you?
Oh. So again, I just kind of put this one together yesterday because I was Anchor to Eats with Me, and I have a Harbor and Anchor, two acronyms that I use a lot for the same thing, the nervous system regulation, and they're on my website. And I would say most people have a really hard time cleaning that part of their window to say, okay, next time I'm in the grocery store and my child has a fit, or next time that person sitting in the cubicle next to me has stuff, is very difficult or is angry with me. Those are opportunities to use these tools. And as long as I find people remember to use those tools, they're like, wow, that made such a difference. Just cleaning that little piece of my window for that moment and trying something makes such a huge impact. It's very hard to measure when it's,
right.
It's human emotions.
I will try it. Stop, drop, and roll can stick in my brain.
There you go.
And so there we can
use it next time. Next time your wife gets upset with you, you can.
That never happens.
Oh, never.
So it'll have to be with somebody else.
Oh, good answer. Yeah, you can stop, drop, and roll instead of, jump up, scream, and, kick the door.
Or go storming out, right? Well, hopefully that's not happening for you.
No, not at all. I'm pretty mellow. I'm pretty low key. But yeah, so for other people, I think it's hey, I've been doing it this way all my life and it's not working. Let me try something different. And this is a good alternative. And if it brings back positive for you, then you're like, hey, I'm hooked on this, and it can change a whole person's life.
It really can. And a family and a work environment. I mean, a culture change.
We talked a lot about culture because that's where we kind of intersect. And that whole, I think I mentioned to you, the mantra I take in there is if you put people and purpose as your priorities, profits will follow. Absolutely. So if the bottom line is more of the motivator for decision makers, that's a way to address it as well. But hopefully we've evolved a little bit so that we do understand that businesses are nothing without their people. And their happy people will go above and beyond, and their disgruntled ones will undermine. Yes. So keep people happy.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
So parting words of wisdom as an entrepreneur and creating new paths in your business?
I guess my favorite words of wisdom are invest or seek out mentors and mentees in your life. It is powerful both ways, to mentor others and to be mentored.
And reverse mentoring is getting to be really popular. Yeah.
Yeah. Amazing. And then, I've got a few other Ask the Parent Coach podcasts that I've done that are available on LinkedIn. I'm interviewing a lot of people that I admire that most of them are on my mentor list too, that have just shared their areas of expertise with me, and that just can be really, I love to learn, and I think that that's always been a big part of my life as being a philomath, which means a lifelong learner.
Yeah, absolutely. Same thing. Yeah. Never stop learning.
Absolutely.
Always. All right. Thanks, Heather, for being on our podcast. We enjoyed your segment, and I hope people out there go and try something new. Stop, drop, and roll. Don't forget.
Thanks, Heather.
Thank you so much for having me.